think there is one beauty, is there?
No, I suppose to some people beauty's quite a superficial thing. I guess.
I think as a hairdresser you can't think of one look, and you have to like think of so many different views on it.
Yeah. Some people don't see beauty even as a kind of outward thing, do they? They never get their hair done or do their makeup or worry about what clothes they wear, do they? But they still kind of think about, I don't know, maybe they look inside, that sort of thing. That sounds a bit cliche, doesn't it? But yeah, I think it's a lot of things, probably.
Beauty, I think, is when someone is happy, when they're confident and feel comfortable with themselves.
Beauty is something that makes you want to stare at it. Something you like, maybe something you want.
Someone who's just very pretty, sort of face. And
what's my perception of beauty? What with physicality? Are we talking art, literature? People have been asking that question for a long time, haven't they? I think I'll go with symmetry, something that balances. That's what I find in beauty. Good, clean structure, symmetry. Yeah, there we are.
Ugliness, I suppose. I don't know, I suppose ugliness is really something that isn't attractive. It doesn't mean necessarily like, you know, someone how they look. I suppose if someone's, you know, someone can have an ugly personality or they can have an ugly kind of mindset on things. It's kind of the opposite of
It's again not like your opinion, isn't it? On what you think is nice and not, isn't it?
Yeah, all sorts of things, I suppose. That's the way. Something that's kind of like a bit distasteful, I suppose you'd say. And all cool kind of things, really, not just like appearance.
Sort of an angry person who's not very nice. Who isn't very nice to other people, maybe. When they make other people feel bad about themselves.
Ugliness is something that you sort of turn your nose up at, not really have an interest in, something you don't really want around you.
I'd normally say if somebody hasn't got a nice personality or they come across as a very nice person, I'd say that's quite ugly.
Craft. Anything crafty, homemade, thick, ugly pottery, that kind of stuff, I can't bear. Clunky, anything that's primitive, I think, I find ugly. It's a case of, I suppose, anything that's too crafty and rough. There we are.
I think people care about how they present themselves to fit into society. They have a fear of not being accepted, and that's what they really want.
Peer pressure, mostly. I think definitely in this job, it's all basically a bit of vanity, isn't it? To varying degrees. You rely on people to have a little. I mean, even people who aren't. Most people aren't vain as such. There are vain people, but everyone has a bit of vanity to a certain extent. I think, like you say, because otherwise everybody would just, you know, walk around with the same outfit on every day. Probably never do their hair. Wouldn't shave. Wouldn't wash. You know what I mean? It's kind of like you have to rely on people having a little bit of vanity to keep us in the job, because like you know, everyone cares. I think a little bit. It's varying degrees. It doesn't mean that everyone is, you know, vain, because that can sound like a bad word to a lot of people. You know, that someone who's vain, but I think
people just want to make a good impression, don't they? That you can make an impression on someone in 10 seconds. So if you can do it, you want to look what you want to impress someone, don't you?
Yeah.
Someone you've not met before. Like when clients come in, if I look like a slob, they're not going to want to come to me, are they?
yeah, that's definitely how we have to be. You know, we have to sort of give a good impression and a good kind of example, don't you? Because like she says, if someone comes in and they want their hair to look better than it does at the current time, and you kind of don't give off the impression that either you know what you're doing or that you care about yourself, and they're not really going to have much confidence in you. So yeah, I think people just care because it's what humans do, isn't it? Kind of, it's just socially the norm, basically. It's been sort of, I think, probably way back in history, like people cared about what everyone else looked like, didn't they? So, not that it's necessarily a good thing.
A lot of people, well, they're being judged on it really, and how people see you as. They just want to fit in with everyone else.
I think when people make quite an effort with their appearance, it makes people see them a bit differently. And also, if you feel like you look nice, you've got a lot more confidence. So, yeah.
On a primitive level, you know, you start with earliest woman or man, they would have been doing something to make themselves attractive to. It's biological, isn't it? It's about attracting a partner, I suppose. And then as time went on, it became about sort of status, affluence, and probably in the last 10 years it's been ramped up to an insane level where people are sort of creating this, you know, theatrical image about what they look like, don't they really? Selfies, that sort of thing. Your generation,